bombshell news as Leonardo DiCaprio essentially testified against Hollywood in what is the biggest social and political corruption case that we have ever seen. It's going on right now. Now, DiCaprio dropped bombshell after bombshell, too, talking about hundreds of millions of dollars that ended up in Hollywood's hands and how the star power that bought was ultimately used to pump money into the political system. Tens of millions of dollars, by the way. All of it very illegal. And make no mistake, Leonardo DiCaprio's testimony here has real consequences, as in may put Pras from the Fugees, one of their founding members, in federal prison for decades from what he's saying. Now, you and we are going to talk about some of those bombshells that Leonardo DiCaprio dropped in the courtroom today. And this, it really is Hollywood on trial. You have people like Kim Kardashian named in this. I mean, she walked away with millions, including $250,000 in a trash bag, a white Lamborghini, and more. Kanye West, he got K'd as well. You also had Jamie Foxx. Usher was named. I mean, the names go on and on and on. I mean, it is crazy times, huh? Crazy times indeed. All right, so hey there to all you fine folks on this fine day, by the way. I hope you are doing excellently. So Leonardo DiCaprio enters a federal courtroom April 3rd, 2023, and starts dropping bombshell after bombshell for about an hour. Now, Leonardo DiCaprio is testifying against Pras, one of the founding members of the Fugees. Like I said, he may go away for decades because of this. He is probably going to face jail time for sure. And the reason, in my opinion, that Leonardo DiCaprio is testifying for the government is because he didn't want to face charges as well. I mean, the FBI, they pulled him in back in 2018 because of all of this. It wasn't just the FBI talking to him either. You had the IRS, the Assistant U.S. Attorney for the Central District of California, plus trial attorneys for the DOJ for money laundering and asset recovery sections. Now, Leonardo DiCaprio testifies basically about everything the FBI, they grilled him on. He has also apparently testified about this stuff to a grand jury. We don't get to see that testimony, but he testified as part of that as well. But what he's talking about here is his introduction into this, how he gets involved with the players and this fiasco in the first place, because this is a case involving $4.5 billion. That's right. Billion with a B dollars that ends up putting a prime minister in Malaysia behind bars, ends up putting Goldman Sachs players. They end up having one of them put behind bars, plus several other social and political players. So DiCaprio says, at the first time, when I get involved, I meet a guy named Lo. Now, Lo ends up being a Chinese quote-unquote dissident, aka a Chinese spy. That's what you're going to find out. But DiCaprio meets him back in 2010 at a birthday party in Las Vegas. DiCaprio says at that time he didn't know a lot about this person and thought that they were quote-unquote sort of a prodigy in the business world and ultra successful. That's where Pras comes in too, because Pras helps make and solidify this connection. Now, as far as Pras goes, you have DiCaprio meeting Pras in the 1990s. He attended a Fugees concert, and DiCaprio also says that maybe he attended a Thanksgiving meal at DiCaprio's home, but that memory does not serve. Now, DiCaprio was asked also to identify Pras in the courtroom, and DiCaprio had a visible impact on the jury and the courtroom. I mean, people were covering their mouths. They were in shock that this guy, he was here and he was testifying. So you have Pras play this off. He ends up leaning back and he ends up waving to the actor, saying, essentially, hey, nice to see you. So Lo and DiCaprio's relationship, along with Pras, this is developed over time. They say at first it was purely social. That's what DiCaprio testifies to, recounting a multitude of lavish parties around the world, several of which Pras also allegedly attended. In one instance, DiCaprio said that Lowe flew several celebrities to Australia from New Year's Eve, then flew them back to Las Vegas in time to celebrate for the New Year's again. He was asked by the defense attorney, "Did you make it back in time to celebrate?" To which DiCaprio responds, "Yeah, it depends on how you look at it." To which the courtroom laughs. And that can actually be a good thing depending on how things play out, because a laughing courtroom is not a hanging courtroom, although there's some real problems for Pras in this. For example, there's the discussion about political corruption, and this one is a big one. Why? Well, about 2012, so about 2 years into the relationship between Lowe and DiCaprio, DiCaprio has a conversation about the ongoing presidential election. Quote, this is from DiCaprio. "It was a casual conversation about what party he was in support of. I told him what party I was in support of, and he told me that he and a group was going to make a significant contribution to the Democratic Party, saying this was around $20 to $30 million. I said, wow, that's a lot of money, DiCaprio said. Now, prosecutors are saying that Lowe and Pras, they were making connections in the political realm using Hollywood stardom, including Leonardo DiCaprio, to make donations through a series of straw donors. So, that is very, very illegal. Now, Lowe, as part of the relationship here, eventually offers to fund a movie for DiCaprio. That's what DiCaprio testifies to. DiCaprio's lawyers, a production company, and a third party, they all conduct background checks into Lowe and his finances, and they give DiCaprio the green light to make the deal. Now, prosecutors allege, I think this is something here, this is a bombshell when you think about it, that Lowe laundered money from 1MDB through a Los Angeles-based movie production, Red Granite Pictures. Red Granite Pictures allegedly used some of the laundered money to fund movies, including DiCaprio's 2013 The Wolf of Wall Street. DiCaprio even thanks Lowe by name while accepting the Golden Globe for the role in the movie. That's because Lowe ends up coughing up $100 million for a movie that ends up being ultra successful, by the way, but Hollywood didn't want to touch it. And don't you find it fascinating that a movie that is about corruption was funded by corruption of the biggest type? Now, Lowe also ends up giving money to DiCaprio's environmental foundation. You have him meeting up with the prime minister. In fact, through part of this, he ends up meeting that prime minister 2 times. And DiCaprio says, we're trying to make good on all of this. We're trying to make restitution. And that's a theme throughout Hollywood. And this is ultimately why Hollywood is on trial, because they love that money. They don't want to ask a lot of questions about where it come from, and why people like Kim Kardashian walk away with $250,000 in a trash bag, another $100,000 from that setting, another $100,000 more, plus hundreds of thousands of dollars more in wedding gifts. She got a white Lamborghini with Kanye West. They ask for a Monet. Kanye West gets $1.2 million for a private performance, putting on a concert for 7 people. Plus, again, if you look at names, you have people like Jamie Foxx coming in, Usher. Like I said, a lot of people, they're used, their stardom to open the doors in politics. Both sides, by the way, are inherently corrupt in this. I don't want you to think it's a one-sided affair. It's a mess all around. But anyway, let me know what you think about this. Leonardo DiCaprio dropping bombshells because he doesn't want to go to prison, essentially. Man, oh, what a world. Anyway, links in the description. Check those out. Sub to the channel. You'll enjoy it. And I appreciate you. I want to end here thanking you for being here, too. See ya.